up with a lot of new stuff added to their content and working with a lot of new clientele. So, gotta stay busy. That's the way it is. So, I decided to make another beat video, see what I'm working with, see if we can get more than one beat in this video. If not, we'll break it up into 2 parts. So, once again, thank you for watching. And let's get started. Jesus Hits Productions. So I already have an idea of what sample I'm going to use and have a good feeling of how everything's going to go, but I still have to chop it up, see how everything works out. So let's first go over what I think is going to be the bass line, and it's going to be pretty much simple. Usually simple is always best. Sometimes it doesn't have to be that complicated, and it works out well. So I hope you can definitely hear the bass line. Let me try to turn it up a little bit. It goes something like this. So we'll see how that plays out, and now let's go into the drums. So now that we laid down the bass, we're going to get into the other parts of the beat. I'm going to pretty much start with the drums. Usually with me, I usually start with a clap or a snare so I can set the tempo of my beat. And I'm pretty much using 115 BPMs, beats per minute. So it will be an up-tempo beat, but depending on how you lay down your snare will determine how the rapper will spit on the beat. So usually if it's 115 BPMs and I use a snare regularly, it'll be like, which will force the rapper to rap fast because the beat is so up-tempo set by the snare. But you can always change it, so if your snare is slower, like you can basically give them an option of being able to rap fast or slow on the beat. So let's go ahead and lay it down and see exactly how I laid it down, because I like to give my artists options when they're flowing on beats. So that gives him a chance to space out his words. If he wants to rap it fast, if he wants to rap it slow, he'll have an option of the tempo that he wants to do it on. So next we're going to go ahead and get into the kick, then the hi-hats, and then the other parts of the beat. Let's go. So next we're going to go ahead and get into the kick. Basically, you want your kick to, like I said, give your track some punch. That's what I use the kick for, punch. That's what I call it. And basically, once you get into mixing, you're going to go ahead and make sure that your bass and your kick vibe off each other, because that's how you get a good low-frequency bass sound as well as the track riding itself. So let's go ahead and get into the kick, see how it works. So you see how the bass, how it's hitting on the same note of one of the starts of the kick. Usually you want to do something like that just so they lock in together. You want to make sure that they lock. It gives you a good quality low frequency bass sound as well as it sets the punch for the beat. So now next we're going to get into the hi-hats, and then we're going to get into parts of the sample and see how everything goes together. So pretty much with this particular beat, being that it's so up-tempo, I wanted my hi-hats to be up-tempo. Now I could have played them out individually, yes, but I have my note repeat, which is a great feature that I love about my MPC. So we're going to go ahead and use note repeat, and we're going to go ahead and set the tempo of this hi-hat exactly the way we want it. So first we'll start with it. Just let it go through so you can get a listen to it. So, like I said, being that the hi-hats are so up-tempo, there's another reason why I wanted to slow down the snare. So now you get to guide each individual part. So you can actually start rapping slow, then speed up and slow back down again. You got a lot of different ways you can run it. So let's move on to the next part, the actual sample itself. So now we're going to go ahead and get into the sample portion. So the sample I particularly used for this beat, I already knew what it was. I put it in and I set my BPMs for the sample before I even did my drums, so I knew exactly what BPMs I was going to use. So the sample is not that complicated, it's pretty plain. And what I especially want to tell you, because I don't believe I mentioned it in any of my other videos, just because the sample is that speed or plays in that order when you chop it up doesn't mean you have to follow that pattern. You can change it up any kind of way so that your sample pretty much is not the same as it exactly came out as. You can start up here, over here, over here. Don't be limited in your thoughts of how you can chop up your sample and how you want to play it back over the MPC, or if you're using Reason or Fruity Loops or Pro Tools. You can break this up any kind of ways as long as you get it to fit together tempo-wise and as far as the melody. So what I did was now you see how everything fits in, how I already had set the drums to where I wanted to go, the snares, the hi-hats, the bass. Now we're going to go into the other parts that I broke up with the sample itself and show you how other parts came out. It's pretty much just one of the bass parts. We still have other parts to work on. So now we're going to go ahead and get into part 2 of the way I laid down the sample, and we're just going to work with it and see how it works. So let's get it started. So I decided to play the sample all the way out instead of the breakup that I did in the first part. But I'll blend it in during the beat and make everything work out. So let's get ready to go into another part. So now we're in part 3 of the sample and playing it out. So each of the ways I played it out through the 3 parts we went to are going to be slightly different. Not dramatically different, but slightly. So you can put a change up to the beat where you'll notice it in the beat, but as I'm playing it through, you may think, oh, it sounds just exactly the same. So for this part, I pretty much did So that's pretty much 3 parts of the samples. Now I pretty much have a basis of how I want it to be. So we're going to go ahead and start to sequence it, get it to how we want the verses to go, how we want the hook to go, and then start to blend it all in. So let's get started on sequencing. Let's go. So now I've gone ahead and sequenced a few parts into the beat, added a few things while we had time in the middle of the video, added a few strings and an open hat just to give it a little bit of more of a vibe. So let's take a rough listen to how the sequence is going to be. I still have to break it down, put it in Pro Tools, mix it all out the way I like it. But as a rough copy, let's see how the beat would sound sort of like. There's the strings that I said I added, that weren't there before. Plus I played out a different part of the sample. Just give it a more dramatic feel. Give it an extra long intro. So you rap to tell the story out there while you're working your way through the beat. Now you Feel the richness in the bass and the kick, how they vibing together to set that bottom. I need that in hip hop. Now you see how the light variations of how we played through the sample. You can hear it now, the sequence. When we were playing through it, like I said, it sounds very similar. So, like I said, the beat doesn't have to be complicated always to be good. Sometimes simple is better, sometimes more complicated is better. It all goes on how the beat predicates it to be. I'm gonna let it play through because I wanted to get to the second verse where I pretty much set down a little breakdown that we didn't get a chance to see me make. But of course, using your standard 16 bars that a rapper will use. Of course, so it vibes in with them as they go ahead and make their music to your music. And notice how the bass varies to fit the parts of the sample. Pretty much about to go back into the verse, so I wanted to go into the bass line. Or excuse me, go into the breakdown. And then we're back into the normal parts of the verse. So there's going to be a lot more variation as I put in Pro Tools and maybe change up the sequences a little bit. But I definitely wanted to give you a rough copy of a beat that I was working on today. Sorry it's been a while, but I definitely want to come back with a new beat, and there'll be more videos on the way, definitely, and I'll try to be more active with getting information out. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask on the YouTube video, and make sure you check out my website, JesusHits.com. I'm constantly posting music up there, new beats, working on a mixtape this summer, and that'll be dropping soon, which is Venom, Prepare for the Snakes, working on a couple other artist mixtapes for the summer. So we're going to keep it busy, keep it moving, keep on loving the music because you love it, not just because of money, because whether you make a dollar or a penny, you still gotta love the music and make it. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.